Welcome to 50 Leadership Communication Lessons. I'm Stephanie Bickel. This is Lesson 9. Welcome to the Speak by Design podcast, where we study personal style, message structure, and message strategy so you can become a consistently compelling force. Let's dig in. You want to be the type of senior leader who can connect with anyone, whether that is somebody who is different than you by background, different than you by role and function, a new person who seems resistant to the meeting. You still want to be able to connect with that person. And right now, you probably connect well with a lot of people. So think for yourself, who is it easy for you to connect with? And next, who is it not as easy for you to connect with? When we get to this topic of connection, a lot of times people say things like, I'm struggling to connect with my new leader or with my peer. Sometimes I'm making a really bad first impression. So if that has happened to you, connection is a great place to focus on. So you're not focusing so much on, I need to agree with this person, I need to influence them. Instead, you're just trying to connect, and that lowers the pressure. And now you're trying to relate to them and listen to them better. And that's going to build trust easily. So that's why this topic is so important. So what we're going to do is get you laser focused on who you need to connect better with. That's step one. And then what thoughts do you need to shift that help you become a better connector? And then finally, what are some tips and tricks of what you can say? And we use an acronym called PPD. So I want to start getting that PPD acronym in your head. That is the way to accelerate connection. And that's what I'll leave you with today. Okay, so in this lesson on connection, think of a senior leader who you have worked with, or someone in the public eye, but someone you worked with, you usually have more data points on that person who does this really well, and reflect, how do they do this so well? So there's a person that I know who connects with literally every single person. I've never seen him not connect with a person. And what he does that is so smart is he front loads something personal and fun into every meeting, and then he gets quiet. So once he puts down this really interesting topic, the whole mood of the room changes and everyone's energized. And what strangely starts happening is other people start sharing their personal bits of interest that relate to that topic. There's laughter, and people feel much more open after that. But he does get quiet. He does get quiet after that because he wants to listen and be able to amplify and build on everybody else's ideas. So whenever we're coaching you to please share something personal about yourself, this is why it increases the depth of connection. It increases the joy and delight of that meeting. All right, but now think of the times when you've seen people connect well on a talk show. I don't know what you're watching, Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey. But when you watch those interviews, sometimes we see people do it so well. And Jimmy Fallon is a great example of that. In his early years, he was still finding his voice. But if you watch him today, he looks at his guests with so much admiration. Kelly Clarkson is doing the same thing. She's so overjoyed and in awe of the people that she's interviewing. And it makes us, the audience, more interested in them as well. So very much extending interest and trust in the speaker. So that's something I want you to ask yourself is, are you always extending visibly trust toward the other person? Because that accelerates connection too, if they can feel that they trust you. One time I was watching Oprah Winfrey in a live, when she had her show in Chicago. I went as an audience member, and I watched her interview a woman on the quarter life crisis that she had just written. This woman had written a book about how at 25, it's a crisis. You don't know what you're going to do with your life. And Oprah's face said it all. She almost wanted to laugh. She thought, Quit your whining and making excuses. This is normal. Don't look at it as such a negative thing. And because Oprah didn't agree with the idea, there was a massive disconnect. And Oprah was speaking in a slow, low-pitched voice, and the speaker started talking faster and rushing, and her pitch got really high. And as an audience member, it was uncomfortable because we were watching a disconnect. And since in Ellen DeGeneres, I mean, you can look up many times she has offended the person she's interviewing. Think about Katie Couric when she interviewed Sarah Palin. Katie Couric is known for connecting well with the people she interviews. But in that interview, a massive disconnect. There was a disrespectful approach to the questions that Katie was using. And what was interesting about it is at first it looked like they were connecting, but then you started seeing the vocal style change in Sarah as she realized this was going south. All right, so I put some of those ideas in your mind of what looks good and what doesn't look good for connection. What looks good? If you were watching a silent movie, what would look good and what would highlight to us that two people are connecting is they are making eye contact. They're not looking at the other people in the room. They're not looking at their phone. They're looking at each other's eyeballs. The second thing is they would look like they have similar paces. One is not fast and the other one is slow. So they're matching their breathing in a way where there's no interruption going on. Now, if there's interruption because of excitement and they're so excited about what each other is saying, there's laughter, that's different. But if one person is sharing an idea and the other person looks frenetic and anxious to interrupt, and it's very obvious they're not listening, they're just waiting to unload their idea, that is not connection. Let's take a step back and reflect for this coming year. Who do you need to connect with to achieve your business goals, your team's goals, your individual goals? Who do you need to bring closer to you? And when you think about this, sometimes people say, oh, no, I've got everybody I need. All right. Do you have a good friend? Do you have someone you can mentor? Do you have someone who's mentoring you? Do you need more clients? Do you need more senior leader exposure? Do you need better peer relationships? Do you need to have deeper relationships with your direct reports? All of us need deeper, broader, somewhere in our sphere of influence. So get laser focused on who those people are. And I often tell people, make a list of 20 names. And sometimes people say, I don't have 20 names. I only have 10. 10's fine too. But push yourself to see, who do I already know that I want to have better connections with? And you might get 10 names. And then after that, you've got 10 types of customers you want. And maybe you don't have names yet, but that gives you an idea of targets you want to set if you're in business development. But for business development, it could be, think of a client you worked with 10 years ago that you've gotten out of touch with. Maybe you put that person's name back on there because you want to rekindle a relationship with that person. The reason I want you to get a list of names is that approaching this topic without concrete aspirations makes it fuzzy, and we don't want it to be fuzzy. I want you to realize you're already connected to a lot of people, and that deepening the connection doesn't take that much effort. It will take slight shifts of your thinking and some actions on your part, but they're not hard. They're not difficult. In fact, you could change a lot just by listening and digesting what we're talking about today. Remember the beginning goal of this. It's about being able to connect with anybody, even if they're younger than you, even if they're from a different country than you, even if they're a different gender, even if you are the only person. This only mindset, I'm the only woman in the room, I'm the only Asian in the room, I'm the only African American in the room, I'm the only old person in the room, I'm the only young person in the room. That is not helpful at all. That is disrupting connection. So we need to turn that off. We need to eliminate that way of thinking, because if your brain is asking, am I the only person of my type? You are creating psychological distance with the rest of the room that doesn't necessarily exist. And even if it does exist, it is in no way helpful to you. Thinking that you are connected and so similar to these people who have had different experiences, different backgrounds, different knowledge, different in every way, different generationally, and enveloping them, appreciating them, even loving them, being fascinated by them is going to put you in a much better state. Why? Because you're going to extend trust more easily, and you're visibly going to look like you are extending trust more easily. All right, so how do you do this? I'm going to offer you some thoughts that are very helpful. And so for each one of these, I want you to imagine that you're speaking to that list of names you just made, and you're believing these things. I'm going to go through them one at a time. All right, the first one is, I can learn so much from you. Now, if I can learn isn't right, just say, I learn. I always learn so much from you. So let's say I'm sitting down with Jim, and I've met Jim before, but I'm looking at Jim with the eyes of, I learn so much every time we talk. I grow from even a conversation with you. Second one, Jim, you're fascinating. Your experiences, your insights, your stories are just fascinating. When you are fascinated, your eyes light up. Third one, I get you. Now, that is so powerful when you are looking at someone like they make perfect sense. Because often speakers have some insecurity over, is what I'm saying resonating? Is what I'm saying making sense? But if you're looking at them like, yes, I get you. I get why you think this way. Number 4, I could talk to you forever. And that is such a good thought to put in your head, because first of all, it does help you lose yourself into the conversation and you look enthralled. Number 5, I like the way you talk. So that is, I like your voice, I like your words. When you really like the way they talk, you will concentrate even more on exactly what they're saying. This is going to make you a better listener as well. Number 6, we're going to be lifelong friends. I like this for short projects. If I know I'm working with someone for maybe a couple of weeks, we do a lot of management team presentation coaching for companies that are about to be sold. And when we work with those teams, it's only about 2 to 4 weeks. And I do want to keep up with them. I do. We work so deeply with them. I want to be a lifelong friend with them. And it's very easy for me to bring that thought and behavior into my coaching time with them, into my conversations, into even my emails that I write them. Number 7, you, person I'm talking to, Jim, you are going places. So when you talk to someone and you see their potential and future as even bigger than they see it, they want to be around you because they can tell you believe in their potential. So believe in their potential. But when you go into an interaction and you think, oh, I don't think you're going anywhere, or this isn't going to go anywhere, they feel it. Number 8, you, Jim, are the one. Now, this you are the one idea is that you believe that Jim is going to be the one who changes something. Jim is going to be the one to lead this effort. Jim is the one who's going to do the analysis and figure out the root cause of this problem. So it doesn't mean like you're looking at this person like you are the master of the universe, but they are the master of their respective universe. And you're looking at them with great admiration for what they are going to do. And then the last one, number 9, is I really want to know you better. I want to know you better. I want to know about your dog. I want to know about your family. I want to know about your hobbies. I want to know you better. Can you imagine if all of those thoughts, or even just one or two, were inside you pulsing. Now, you don't say these out loud, but the thoughts will help drive natural conversation and behavior. They are going to make your emails more personable, less transactional. They add that human, it adds a deeper human element to every meeting when you're looking at the people from this type of lens. Now, if any of this was hard for you, I want you to ask yourself this very, very deep, deep question. So forgive me because this is going to sound really deep for a moment. Is how much do you love yourself? Because people who tend to struggle with connection don't usually have a high amount of self-love. This is what I found because they didn't come from families where that was modeled or valued, that you accept all your flaws. That's what self-love is to me, is that you say, yes, I am good at so many things. I am also flawed, but I love all of it about myself. I even embrace my flaws. And a lot of high achieving individuals and scholars are so hard on themselves that self-love is not 100%. And because of that, they have a hard time connecting with others because they don't know how to love others unconditionally either. And that same judgment that they're applying to themselves internally, they're applying to others. So if this is a tough, tough topic for you, come back inward and say, how can I start embracing and accepting my own flaws and being less judgmental of others? But if you're somebody who's so competitive that you are always thinking, who's winning? Who's better than the other person? Am I better at this? Am I deficient at this? If you're always evaluating like that, it's going to get in the way of connection. What else gets in the way of connection? Thoughts like this: I don't think they like me. That is not useful at all. That is not helpful. Even something like this: they don't like me. That's your brain acting like it's a fact that they don't like you. And it's really hard to say that 100% of an audience doesn't like you. Maybe they don't like your ideas. Maybe they don't like the extra work that you're recommending or creating, but it's not as personal as you're making it be. And you certainly don't benefit by thinking about it that way. We have had some people try to make a game of this and a sport of this, where they plan what questions to ask about the other person and show curiosity and show a desire to connect on a personal level and ask a personal question and then a professional question and get them talking about something positive and something negative. If it feels like a formula and it's not motivated by genuine curiosity and appreciation of the other person, it is going to come across flat. That being said, I know you all love formulas, so let me give you the PPD formula. PPD stands for People, Passions, and Dreams. And this comes from neuro-linguistic programming ideas, but it's something that Speak by Design has codified. And it's all focused on positive topics that get the person dreaming, expressing, and finding their most beautiful essence internally. So they're going to shine in front of you. Nothing negative in this line of questions. So, who are the people they love? What are the passions they have? And what are the dreams that they have? But you don't ask it that way. You don't say, who exactly do you love in this world, on this planet? It has to come up more naturally. So if I'm in a conversation with Jim and he says, oh, my son is getting ready for a big game. He plays lacrosse and I've been watching him for years. Already he's said a few sentences about his son. I can feel the love he has for him. I'm going to ask him to tell me more about his son because I can tell he's lighting up on this topic. Then there's passions. I can also ask something like, how did you get into this work? Or you mentioned that conference and you've gone many years. What do you love about that conference? Because he must have a passion for that group or for that event. Then I can say, for dreams, What are you hoping to achieve over the next quarter? Where do you want to go with your family this year? If when you think about your next chapter, what might you be doing? But questions along that line, where I'm getting to what is he hoping and dreaming for, is going to get him sharing very personally and more expansively, futuristically. That's also going to motivate him. So, those three types of questions, people, passions, and dreams, if in the first 30 minutes of meeting a new person, you can get to even one of those, you are going to create connection. You're going to even feel attraction going on. Now, if you're just interviewing the other person and they are receiving nothing about your people, passions, and dreams, that's a very unbalanced conversation. So the balance matters too. We want to be 50-50. If you're just interviewing the other person about their travels, their accomplishments, their successes and things, it's going to feel one-sided. Unless you're speaking to someone who is a mogul or a royal personality type who just likes to talk about themselves, maybe to them that will feel natural. No matter, but force getting out some information about yourself so that you are balancing the power dynamic in the room as well. Now, this topic is so close to how we talk about relationship building. We're saving that for another lesson. This is just about connecting with people who are different than you, because the desire is to be able to connect with anyone. This is also about connecting fast with people who you are meeting for the first time. And a lot of times people say, well, I can only connect in person. Virtual connecting is difficult. Hogwash. You can connect with people virtually. I do most of my work from my computer and I connect very well. I know you can too. In fact, you benefit greatly by learning how to connect well remotely. Turn that camera on. That is such a pet peeve of mine. People who meet in a virtual setting, now sometimes you can't. I understand you might be in your car or maybe you're not dressed appropriately. But during the workday, at your desk, not using video, that's a sign of a person who is not able to connect and not wanting to connect. You know, when you want to connect, you use everything you can to show your interest and delight in listening to that person. Okay, lots of food for thought here. Remember, you want to be the type that can connect with anyone. And you are. You are. Put some of those new thoughts in your head right now and try them out with the next person you speak with. I guarantee it's going to be a great conversation. If you are enjoying all of these lessons, but now you're hungering to turn all of this into skills and habits that make this work intuitive and natural so that you don't have to think about it, then you want to join Speak by Design University. That's our coaching program that gives you private coaching, group coaching with me, group training, self-paced learning, as well as exceptional networking with other people like you. This program is for managers and above, people whose careers are on fire and they're looking to hit their next level and they want to do that sooner rather than later. Check it out at speakbydesign.com/join. That's speakbydesign.com/join, and you can start with us at the 1st of next month. We hope to see you there.